Check. Check.
Yeah, so just that PowerPoint. Okay.
Christine, city manager?
Yes. Okay. Yes, and then I think an outside
Check. Check.
agency member is going to help out as well.
Maybe you want to move the speakers a little bit sideways.
Okay.
She's going to be in the front.
I think I've got plenty.
Check.
I mean, I've got plenty. Oh, I guess there's only one person talking. Someone said this is your show.
It could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll need this.
Yeah.
You want to? I was going to show
Should I
you.
use it right now?
Well, you don't need it right now. I mean, I can do it too. You can go up there if you want. It won't be.
Is that the microphone?
That's the mic.
Yes.
That's what you and I are going to
Check. Check.
Are there two?
Oh, I have two. You're both going to talk?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's just do this.
Turn them off so that we don't.
I'm going to show you. Let me. Vibrating. Just like that. You feel it? I want you to do it. Just shut it off.
Anaheim, Carnegie, the one in Washington, and I had a hand in
you hear it?
Yale. So, yeah.
Almost. We're gonna start.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. Yeah, they're all very good. Borders, who is the architect on this one, was the architect on La Mesa, Carnegie, and I think the one in Placentia as well. Are you ready? We're gonna get started. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I did. I totally did. That's so funny. Yeah. Right. Exactly. All right. Do you want to start? Do you want me to do the?
I can intro it. I'll intro you. I'll intro
Okay.
people who are.
Do you want to? Well, do you want me to intro you as the city manager for Westminster, and then Maggie, is she? And then is this your captain or who's?
So this is Commander McCormick, and this is Roland. He's our HLO. He's our homeless liaison officer.
Okay.
So he's the guy that makes it happen. out in
Okay.
the field.
So he's the commander and he's the HLO. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then of course Chief Darren's here.
Okay. Oh, and that's Chief
And then
Darren.
I have a council member here too.
Okay. And who's your council member?
Carlos Monzo.
Carlos Alonso.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So I guess we'll go out now.
Yeah.
Everybody gets started.
Here, I can. Okay. All right.
Right. Huh? Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Welcome. Would you all please take your seats, and would you please turn me down? It's terrifying to hear yourself that loud. Good evening. Welcome. As you're finding your seats.
Almost.
Hi. Find your seats. That's weird. That's me. I can hear myself. That's very strange. Okay.
It's the voice in your head, but not. It's
I
the
know,
delayed
oh,
voice
no,
in your
that
head.
voice in my head is back. Darn it. All right. Well, welcome and good evening. Thank you for coming to your community meeting regarding the Central Cities navigation that will be opening in Garden Grove. I have to remember what city I'm in, what I'm talking about, who's here. So let me introduce to you your city manager, Christine Cordon, and she will introduce the rest of the dignitaries in the room, and then we will get started. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Can you hear me? Is my mic perfect? So thank you. That is Yvette Alstrom. She's from Home Age, and she'll be leading a lot of tonight's discussion as well. Just want to introduce a few people. So we have our Assistant City Manager, Adolfo Zeta, over here. Vice Mayor Carlos Monzo in the back. We also have our Homeless Liaison Officer, Roland Perez. Police Chief Darren Lanier. City Manager Scott Stiles from City of Garden Grove. Commander Kevin McCormick, who also is in charge of our homeless liaison program. And then, of course, we have other staff here as well. So we just want to get started with, and Community Development Director Debbie Carita is on the front. Can't forget her. So first and foremost, thank you everybody for coming and taking time out of your schedule to learn more about our Central Cities Homeless or Navigation Center for the Homeless. This is a project that that we've been working collaboratively with the cities of Garden Grove and Fountain Valley, and I'd be remiss not to introduce Maggie Lee, our city manager from Fountain Valley, who's also here and hiding in the back. So just to touch on, homelessness in our city. Obviously, homelessness is an issue that a lot of, or all cities are facing. And one of the wonderful things that we're doing as a collaboration is working with other cities and partnering, leveraging resources to ultimately try to find a solution to help our most vulnerable residents. So, with that, I'll turn it over to Yvette, who will go through our presentation and talk a little bit more about what homeless statistics look like and what a navigation center is and the services that it will provide.
I have to be able to see the slides too.
That's what I'm doing.
All right, so good evening. My name is Yvette Ahlstrom. I am the housing director for HomeAid Orange County. I have 12 years of experience as a direct service provider. I have built and implemented and run navigation centers in Orange County for those 12 years, and it's my privilege to be here. I feel like I can talk to you about this navigation center because I actually live in Fountain Valley, and I am proud that my city is partnering on this navigation center, and I know that this is the beginning of a good service model for our cities. So let's cover some ground. Orange County's homelessness, we have 5,718 people that are sleeping unsheltered nightly. That's a really big number for a community that's as affluent as ours. Those are things that we have to keep in mind. We have 235 of those that are transitional age youth. Those are individuals that are 18 to 24 years old. Those are really a difficult age to identify as homeless. They all think that they're starving students and that they're couch surfing. But if you don't have a place to call your own home where you get your mail, you're considered homeless. So we want to make sure that those young people get a good understanding in life and get a good place to take off from and can build a strong life for themselves. We identified 280 veterans. Our veterans are service people, and they deserve to be housed. They served our country, and they should be housed as well. Okay? And then we have 718 seniors. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Our homeless population is aging. Our senior population is growing exponentially. Much to my dismay, apparently I get older. Our seniors are getting older, and so that is a population that continues to grow. Our seniors are also not going to be large wage earners. They're not going to go out and get a job and get a career and be able to afford the housing in Orange County. So we need to take care of our seniors, and they have a lot to offer still. So, okay, next slide. Thank you. The central service planning area, I feel like that might be she sells seashells. It includes these cities: Costa Mesa, Fountain Valley, Garden Grove, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Santa Ana, Seal Beach, Tustin, Westminster, and the unincorporated portion of the county. It's a big section, but it's not a big section. And we have lots of small cities in there that really financially, we can't afford to build a navigation center in each one of these. That's why we have to come together as a group. We have to put our resources together. We have to serve our communities together. I shop in Westminster, I shop in Garden Grove, I shop in Fountain Valley. I consider those my hometowns as well. We need to stay together. So we had in the spa, in the central service spa, we had 391 individuals experiencing homelessness in Garden Grove. We had 38 in Louder? What? Oh, okay. Just my friends in the back. It's okay. 38 in Fountain Valley and 159 in Westminster. So that was during the point in time count in January of 2022. Thank you. Okay. The Central Cities Collaboration, we have an MOU between the cities. They've come together and figured out, based on the point in time count, how many beds they need to have to be able to serve, and how they can work together. Go to the next one, please. Yes, the location. So the location of this navigation center will be in the city of Garden Grove, and we're very grateful that their city was willing to take this on for us and be the lead on this. It will be on kind of the corner of Harbor and Westminster Boulevard on a street called West. It's in an industrial area. It's outside of any school area or any housing area. We had a meeting there for the business neighbors so that they could come and ask questions because they too are concerned. And when they left, they were very pleased with our outcomes. They're pleased with the support that they'll get from the police department to clean up their neighborhoods. And as they promised, it'll be the cleanest street in the city. So I trust Chief Alfarar. He's great. So this is what it looks like now, and we'll do what is called tenant improvements to it. So we won't knock it down, we're gonna build on it. Go ahead. This is the proposed layout. We're looking at, we will have 85 beds in there with the ability to expand to 100. We will have a men's and a women's separate dormitories, and we will have a couples area. There will be no families here. Families are served at other shelters in Orange County, and there is a separate engagement source for them. They get to go through that, and the coordinated entry system is separate for them versus individuals. Okay. We're looking at doing a warming kitchen. We also are looking at what will the expense be if we try and put in a full kitchen there. So those are things that we're working through. We'll have laundry room, dining room, outdoor lounge areas, a check-in area and a staging area for everyone that comes in. You bring your items in, you get checked in, your items go through what is called a black box just to make sure that everything is clean and safe. You're assigned your bed and you move on from there. We have lockers for personal items. You can bring so much inside, but then you have a locker that's outside. They'll all have like a bedside table or a locker next to their bed, and they can have one tub underneath so that they have their items. We'll get to questions at the very end, I promise. They'll have their own items, but their larger items can stay outside. We'll have bicycle racks, but what you'll all want to know is, yes, we will have a dog run. And that dog run is not intended where our individuals leave their dogs all the time. It's if they are going to work, there's a place for them to be. There are some kennels that are available. There's a dog run, but the animals are allowed inside. They're allowed to be next to their bed. It depends on the temperament of the animal, whether they have to be muzzled or not, and that's a decision that's made one-on-one, and that's an operator decision. That's not up to me. There you go. Thank you. Supportive services. This is what the Navigation Center is all about. It's about supportive services. It's about getting our individuals to engage in the services that they need. There's one-on-one case management. There's mental health counseling, substance use counseling, outpatient health services that we can connect to, education services, employment assistance, life skills development, and transportation. When we talk about life skills development, I really feel like people need to understand that our individuals that are living on the streets right now, they have developed such acute survival skills for the streets. They survive daily in an area that I know that I wouldn't be very good at. I would be a mess. The poor police would just take pity on me all the time. But they've really honed those skills to survive on the streets. But while they've done that, their domestic living skills have atrophied a bit. And so there's a balance that kind of has to come back, And so that's some of the life skills that they're learning. And they're getting ready. All of their paperwork is getting done so that they can get on the coordinated entry system so that they can get linked to housing, which right now, currently, the only way that you can access housing is through the coordinated entry system and being in a shelter. You will always have to access it through the coordinated entry system, but they're talking about trying to access on the streets, but right now you have to be in a shelter. That's just the way it is currently. Next slide. Okay, let's talk about what a navigation center is. We've kind of covered it a little bit and why it's important. I will tell you first what a navigation center isn't. Do y'all know what a cold weather shelter is? We open them usually in October when it's a little bit cooler than this. There's probably one opening later this month, and they run through April or May, depending on the weather that we have. A cold weather shelter, they line up at night, 4 o'clock to get a space. They get on a bus. They go to the cold weather shelter, whether it's the Armory in Fullerton or the one in Santa Ana. They go in at about 4:30. They can usually get a hot meal. They can get a mat to sleep on. Maybe they get a shower. And that's it. And they sleep there, and at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, the doors open, and they go out again. Well, if I personally was carrying all of my worldly possessions around on my back, I don't know exactly how I would manage anything else all day long. because I have to keep all my stuff with me. I have to keep my stuff safe. I don't want to lose my stuff because my stuff is all I got, right? How do you get a job? How do you go to the social services office? How do you go to the bank? How do you get an EDD card? And what do? You're carrying all your stuff with you. It's difficult. So that's not what a navigation center is. A navigation center is a place that someone comes in, they're referred by the HLOs, or through CityNet or whoever they're contracted with. Yes. Roland will be great at this. He's going to love this job. They come in, they get checked in, they get connected to a case manager. They're checked into their bed, and that's their bed. They put their stuff in the drawers, they put their stuff in the lockers. That's their bed. And so they leave their things there during the day, and they can come and go as they please, but they have a place to come back to. So they can go out during the day and look for a job, or they can work with the case manager to make sure that they get their paperwork filled out and they're on the coordinated entry system, and they can look for housing or whatever it is that they're working on. And then they come back and they get to have that bed. That's a great feeling, because we're all going to go home and lay our heads down in our bed and we know where we're going. It's a great thing to know where you're going at the end of the day. All right. The other thing a navigation center is it's open 24/7, 365. It's staffed all the time. That means they're getting 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's always transportation. There's always somebody there in case of an emergency. The case managers are there. The mental health counselors are usually on site. They can get connected to the mental health at Be Well OC, which we have a relationship with, which is a wonderful, wonderful resource here in our community. So they have the ability to take a breath and to start again. And sometimes that's all it takes, is a place to lay your head that you get to call your own, where you get to leave your stuff and you can work hard on yourself. And that's what a navigation center is. And I know you'll have tons of questions, and I'll make up all the answers as we go along. Do we have another? There you go. So who are we? Well, this is what HomeAid is. HomeAid is, we act as the developer between nonprofit service providers and cities that are building shelter and housing for those experiencing homelessness, and the building industry. We bring those two things together to build at a reduced market rate. So we have relationships that we bring to the table, because the truth of the matter is, whether you're like me, and this is the work that I've chosen to do with my life, and those of you that are here to support the Navigation Center and you just don't want humans to be homeless, or you just don't want homelessness in your backyard, we're all in the same boat. We all want to end homelessness. And there's only one way to do that, and that's a house. There's no other way. There's no silver bullet. There's nothing else. Only housing ends homelessness. And we know that it's expensive to live here in Orange County. We all know. We pay rent. We have mortgages. We know. So we have to figure out how to build affordable housing. And this is what HomeAid does. We develop affordable housing so that there's opportunities for others in our community. We do about 700 volunteer hours over every year. We've built in Orange County 1,587 beds over the years. We have 5,000 care kits that we hand out every year, and those are to those that are experiencing homelessness on the street. And then we do what is called, we call it an essentials drive. It's a diaper and baby care drive. We do it every June, and it really is to collect diapers for those that are experiencing homelessness. Diapers are expensive. They're really, really expensive, and they need them. There isn't any way to get around needing a diaper, as far as I can tell. So those are some of the things that we do. We've done 71 housing projects, and I currently have 6 in the work that we're building, including this one, which we love. So that's a little bit about HomeAid. Yes, and these are some of the projects that we've developed. This is the Buena Placentia Navigation Center on the top right. The Yale Navigation Center, which is a county shelter that has over 425 beds. It's in the city of Santa Ana. And then the one on the bottom is the Carnegie Navigation Center in the city of Santa Ana. That is Santa Ana's shelter. So these are a look at sort of what we can do to build a navigation center. Is there another slide? Oh, there you go. Look at that. Any questions? Yes. Hi.
What happens, or what is the policy for medical emergencies?
Okay, I can't quote you on a policy because I'm not the operator. I can tell you what I think the policy might be and what I've done in the past. If there is a 911 emergency, if it's an emergency that the staff cannot handle, immediately 911 is called and we let them into the shelter. You have to be a little bit clearer on what kind of emergency you're asking about.
Sorry, maybe I shouldn't use the word emergency. What about if there's a guest and they need to maybe spend a few days in detox or something like that? How long of a period can they be out before they're not allowed?
Okay.
Can you repeat the question for
Yep. Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Adolfo. I love the cue. Yours. So the question is, what happens if somebody needs to be away from their bed for a period of time? And that's a great question. Very good. You can be away. The basic answer is the policy is 3 days. You can abandon your bed for 3 days, and after 3 days, we will pack your things up, hold on to them. The county has a stipulation of 6 to 18 months that we're supposed to hold their items, and it all depends on the number of people that you have in your shelter, but we'll hold their bed for 3 days. Other side of that coin, if someone has a medical emergency, including detox or whatever, and they go to a facility and that's where they are, we will hold their bed for them indefinitely because they need the opportunity to process. So, yes. Is that good? Okay. Yes. Yes. She's coming with a
They wear heels, right? Here you go.
Hi.
Hi.
Will you be going over like recovery programs that you will have for them with substance use?
Excellent question. I am not the operator. I don't know who the operator will be, but I will tell you that we are connected to Orange County Be Well OC. Be Well OC has many programs there. There will be substance counselors on the staff of the provider, and I know providers in this county that provide groups, group counseling, connection to counseling and that kind of thing. There's always a connection to substance use recovery. Yes.
So my thoughts are, let's say they don't want to go to recovery. So do they just end up staying on the streets?
This is a low barrier shelter. And so I'll be very honest with you. If we waited for everybody to be clean and ready to be housed, all of our shelters in our county would be empty. So it is not a requirement that you be clean and sober to go into a shelter. It is a requirement that you can manage yourself. So, and the hope, the hope is that the longer that you're in the shelter and the more stable that you get, the closer to choosing not to be under the influence you would be.
I actually like that.
Thank you.
Because I'm a psychiatric nurse who detoxes. So yes, it sounds crazy that they don't have to be sober to be there.
Right.
But it's part of the journey and part of the process.
Exactly. Yeah, and we cannot choose for our individuals that they have to be clean and sober. That it doesn't work. So yes, sir.
Yeah, I hear there is a new number to call for emergencies.
There's a number to call for emergencies?
Yeah, instead of 911, there's another new number.
211. Yes. In Orange County, we have a service called 211. It is a bit like 911, but it's for homelessness. So if somebody on the street is experiencing homelessness and they want to get connected to services, they can dial 211 and they will be connected to, it's in Santa Ana at the Village. OC 211 is what it's called. So, and they connect to the services from there. So yes, that is like 911, 211. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Of the 5,700 homeless, it's okay, I can yell. Okay, got it. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, they can't hear you online.
Okay, of the 5,700 that you said, how many of those do you know are children?
Oh, are you a plant?
No. I'm not that smart.
I can tell you this.
Can you guess?
Last month in Orange County, we had 400 families that represented homelessness. And I would be guessing, if I said an actual number, I believe it's between 1,200 and 1,500 homeless children. Yeah. But please don't anybody take that to the bank and say Yvette said, because you'll get me killed. Oh, good. See, Richard. Yeah. Anybody else? Yep, my friend.
Just one more question.
Sure.
So the seniors, if they can't work,
We get them connected to all of the benefits that they potentially are allowed. A lot of them don't have Social Security, or they don't have their welfare checks, or all of that stuff. They don't know how to get that. And so that's what the case managers are for, is to make sure that they have all of the benefits that they're entitled to, and then to put them on the coordinated entry system, and to make sure that they have the opportunity to connect with housing. A lot of the things that we're looking at for our seniors is shared housing. So one individual in an apartment and one income, it just doesn't work in Orange County. But two friends could share an apartment and make it doable. And loneliness is a thing that our seniors also struggle with, and so we want to make sure that they have community too. So, yes. Next. Yes, ma'am.
How long can they stay in this house?
The question is, how long can they stay? Poor Christine, she has on heels, she's running. Bless her heart. So the idea is 180 days, 6 months. If someone has been there 175 days and they're on the coordinated entry system and they're right there about to get housing, we are not exiting somebody that's that close to housing. We'll hang on to somebody and make sure that they get their housing. But it is the carrot and the stick. If you think you only have 180 days, at some point in the middle of that, you're gonna get active. If you want to get housed and you want to get off the streets, 180 days is a lot of time, but it's not forever. We do not intend for this navigation center to be anybody's permanent house. This is where you come to jump off and to get started and to stabilize yourselves. Yes, ma'am.
How long, once they check out, can they check back in?
So if they left the shelter,
Correct.
that is something that the cities will have to come up to on their own. I've worked in cities where it was 30 days. I've worked in cities where it was 90 days. It really depends on how full the shelter is and how much they want to do turnover. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. I wish I had and again, I'm not the operator.
I understand
So,
that,
yeah.
My other question is, and I don't know how anybody else feels in our community, but I'm not seeing, we talk a lot with our homeless people. We go up, we've offered food, all this other stuff, and that is the community. We're not seeing the, I don't have any place to go, I don't have a phone, I don't have government assistance. They have all of that.
But they don't have housing.
They don't, and it's also, and a lot of the food and a lot of other stuff is turned down, like refused. They don't want it.
Yeah.
And they've been asked, like, do you want help? Do you want to go to a shelter? We can help you. We can, and they're like, no, we're happy where we're at. And I think a lot of what we see in Indian Village, which is all I can speak for, Marjorie Rice Park, is heavy drug addiction.
Yeah.
And, we're finding the paraphernalia and all the other stuff. And I don't, and you say, oh, you can come in and bring your stuff in and put it in a locker. Well, their stuff doesn't even fit in 10 shopping carts. I mean, they're not going to leave whatever they have and thin it out and be like, well, this is what's important to me. I'm going to put this in this tiny locker. I mean, I think it sounds lovely and I think it sounds amazing. And I hope that it's something with the cities coming together and working together, that it gives some people that want that option a chance. I really do.
completely understand what you're saying.
And I completely am thankful for what you guys are all doing.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do know that when there is an actual place to go, and I will tell you from experience, because I've run many shelters here, when we opened a shelter in La Mesa, they said they'll never come. They'll never come. And the first group that came in there, they ran me ragged, man. They had the upper hand like the majority of the time, but it settled it down. And they came and they went. And there are polite rules to society, right? there are polite rules in here. And so what happens usually is the word gets out on the street. If you want to see a group of people that are good communicators, let me tell you, the game of telephone that the homeless community plays, those people know everything. They know where the best food is, they know where the best services are, and they know where the best navigation centers are. And when the word gets out, they want in. My hope is just one of those individuals that's partaking in substance use goes and does well, and the word spreads. But what we're talking about is free will, and every single one of us has that, and so do they. So we can only continue to offer and to not back away from them, and to make sure that the opportunity is there, and hope that at some point they take that. So, yeah. Any more? I've done so well, we can all go home. There you go. Oh, no, my friend has a question. Yes. Oh, let Christine get to you. She's dying. She really wants you to use her microphone.
Thank you. In order for someone to be enrolled in the Navigation Center, should that person have ties in the city?
It's a good question.
In Garden Grove, they need to have some sort of ties to work, used to work in Garden Grove.
Well, they would have to have ties to one of the 3 cities first. So if somebody is from Westminster and they have ties to the city of Westminster, Roland would be able, Officer Perez, sorry about that, would be able to take them to and put them in, because Westminster has 22 beds. I had to see the roll in my head. Garden Grove is entitled to 50, Westminster is entitled to 22, and Fountain Valley has 13. And then we can go up from there for the county. So yes, it is intended to serve those people that are experiencing homelessness in our 3 cities. But if you are found to be homeless in the city of Westminster and you have ties to the city of Stanton, I would think that if you were actively being homeless in the city of Westminster, that Officer Perez would take you to the Navigation Center and be able to get you in. Maybe. He's smiling back there like, you are making this up. Like, yeah, he's back there just big grinning. Yes.
I guess this is a question for Christine too.
Oh, good. Let's ask Christine
What is
questions.
the latest, the most updated count in Westminster
The most updated?
of the homeless population?
Well, it was a point in time when it was 159.
You don't have a microphone, dear.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 159, and that's based on the point in time count from
Here.
the most recent
Yes.
one, 2022. Was March this year? I think February, March?
What? Say it again?
The point in time?
The point in time is in January
was
every.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be in January. And so you all understand what the point in time is. The entire nation counts all of the homeless, both sheltered and unsheltered, at the exact same time, so that we really can get a really strong, yes, I think you brought information. Yes, exactly. There is a point in time pamphlet over here that you can all pick up. Yes, so.
Yeah.
So from January until now, we can probably expect the number to be about 200.
Not necessarily. It's very interesting. Our numbers have ebbed and flowed over the years, but they don't change that dramatically. I would be surprised to see 39 more homeless people in your city. But I don't know. I believe we are doing a point in time count this year, but maybe only of those that are sheltered. Because we count sheltered every year, but we count unsheltered every other year. But COVID messed that up for us too. So imagine that.
So
Yes, sir.
Follow up. Sorry, Terry.
Okay.
So with that number and 22 beds, what are we going to do with the rest of the people? And then also, what
I was
people
bringing them
from
to your
Stanton-
house. No? Oh, okay. Oh, they're already there. Yes, sir.
So also the number of people from Stanton coming into Westminster.
Yes.
What is there to stop them from just crossing the street and become a Westminster.
Well, your officers are doing a really great job. They know their homeless people. They know the ones that are tied to the city of Westminster, or the officers in Fountain Valley know theirs, and the ones in Garden Grove know theirs. They do a lot of research on their people. They don't just pick people up off the street. But it's a good question. I mean, because honestly, if you wanted to go to the Navigation Center, my thought would be, well, cross the street into Westminster. But Stanton has its own HLO system. I used to work in the city of Stanton, and they are very active in trying to manage their homeless population as well. Wait, this lady in the front, right here. Yes, ma'am. She wants the microphone. See, she's a good waiter. Excellent. You get a gold star.
Hi, thank you. Just a couple of things, just personal opinion. I believe, just by my own observations and interacting with the homeless in our city, that point in time count is understated. In fact, I would venture to say grossly understated. Some may or may not agree with me. But I know when I went on our homeless liaison ride-along, they're hiding in places that I don't think the point in time people would dare even go to when they're doing those counts. So that's one thing. So if I understand this correctly, intake will be 24/7. So if our office, or is it work hours only? Because we've had that problem where some of the shelters only have their intake people on business hours, and that just doesn't work because, if our officers are out there or our outreach workers are out there and it's, Friday at midnight and the person says, yeah, I'm ready.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Is that up to the operator, or have we already set that standard?
It would be up to the cities and the operator. I would tell you this, when I was operating a shelter, my staff was required to do intakes 24/7. That's my policy, but I'm not the operator on this. But if I was, that would be my policy. Because if you get somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday night or Saturday morning and they want to go to shelter, you better take them to shelter.
And it's referral entry only, right?
It is referral entry only.
And they can't just...
they cannot walk up. It is transported in, transportation out.
They can't loiter
Nope.
around, even though it's not residential.
No loitering allowed.
And then maybe our officers can address that once we have this in place, even though we've only got 22 of the beds, then our officers can say, we've offered you a bed. If you don't take the bed...
I'll let the officers answer that question.
Maybe they can move along. And I probably know kind of that answer, but God, I had one more question. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I was saved them up all this time, and then I forgot.
You did good. You're good.
But then I forgot. Gosh, darn it. Oh well, I'll give the mic up.
Yeah, I'll let Christine answer that question, or Officer Press.
As I give it to her.
Yeah.
Actually going to let the chief or our HL answer. There's actually one thing that I wanted to point out in the point in time, because somebody asked about children under 18. So in the last point in time, it was 121 unsheltered and 601 sheltered children under 18.
Yeah,
So.
and that number's up from that, sadly.
I guess I'm on the spot. I'm a homeless liaison officer, Roland Perez, and to answer some of the questions, I think you had a question regarding bags and stuff. Usually when I get somebody that's willing to go to the shelter, well, we try to consolidate what they have. They understand that they can't bring a truckload of stuff to the shelter, but if they really want to go to the shelter, they'll consolidate it down and they'll take what's very important to them. And we get that to the shelter so that they could have that secured or saved. Some of the other questions regarding having 159 homeless in our city. I don't have 159 people knocking on my door to go to the shelter, so I take them as they come. We've been really blessed to have Jessica Martinez working with me, and we've been able to get in, how would you say, in the last 2 weeks, 8 or 9 people? So,
that's great.
I mean, this is pretty awesome to me, considering by myself I was able to get 0 in, and she's come in and blow me out of the water. So she, because we're able to get these people in when they come, and that helps out. We also have probably 3 or 4 that are on the list that want to go. So we do try to get them in as soon as they want to go. And I would hope that when we do run our shelter, that it is 24 hours. They will have to check in with one of the HLOs. I'm assuming will probably be the point, and then they'll figure out where they go. The other thing, I think there was another question regarding if the Stanton homeless person comes into our city. they are transients. They come and go. And so we do really try to help the people that are in Westminster, in Garden Grove, in Fountain Valley first. Jessica has a lot of contacts also where she will reach out to the Stanton HLOs or the Stanton outreach personnel. Say, hey, are you working with this person? Oh yeah, we're working with this person. So then we're able to introduce them back to that person and get them back into wherever process there are, where they are in that step to get shelter. So, I mean, I'll tell you right now, Huntington Beach has a bunch of people from Westminster. Hey, can I get in your shelter? No. Okay. So go back to Westminster, so they come back to us.
Who pays for our shelter? Like, how do you guys get funded? How does the money come in for that? Just asking because
Christine's going to answer that question for you.
Okay, thank you.
So there are a variety of funding sources. For this particular shelter, we are actually, all three cities are paying a portion of it. So for this particular project, like Westminster, we've committed $4 million toward the purchase of the property as well as the startup costs. And then of course, Garden Grove has a larger share because they're taking a larger portion. Fountain Valley will have a smaller share because they're taking a smaller portion. The County of Orange has also committed to $11.3 million that will actually go toward, the startup costs as well, for the, and then the annual maintenance costs that this will take. There are additional funds that can be used later, federal funds, CDBG funds, home funds. There are other sources that can be used at a later time, and that just really depends on what the cities have available. We're hoping that at some point with this model of a project that we can maybe apply for grants later. As we know, grants, people think grants and they think it's free money, but a lot of these grants come with, matching funds that you have to match in terms of, your portion of it or your share of cost. So, in general, the three cities have committed to funding toward this project with a commitment of about 10 years for this shelter.
Excellent, thank you. Yes, ma'am. And then you. Yes. I'll repeat the question. Oh, you're going to go?
Hang on, wait.
Anaheim. What if there's someone that you know in Anaheim?
The city of Anaheim has its own shelters.
So they already have their own navigation program?
Yes, ma'am.
And if somebody wanted to donate to what if someone wanted to collaborate, like donations for like clothing and shoes?
Absolutely.
And
when the time comes, the operator will be happy to coordinate that with you.
Okay.
They always are looking for items like that for our individuals.
Like toothbrushes?
Yes.
Personal, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Him and then you, ma'am. Yes, sir. The gentleman.
Gentleman first, sorry.
I feel like a school teacher. And then you, and then you. Yes, sir.
Okay, so here are my concerns.
Okay.
Okay, I worked maximum security jail for 5.5 years. What is your security going to be there? Because if you get the seniors in there along with the 18-year-old kids that have been in prison or even in the county jail, the staff isn't going to be running that.
I ran it.
Okay, so explain to me the security there.
Well, we're not criminals when we're in there.
No, nobody's saying you're criminals, but you have drug abuse and you have people in there with criminal backgrounds. So my concern is, do you have anybody there that works security that's watching your back?
We usually do have security guards on staff there, yes. But I will tell you this, more times than not, it is the staff that de-escalates the system. The staff is trained for de-escalation, they are trained for interaction, and they are trained to make sure that they can meet people where they're at on their journey. If someone has decided that they want to come in there and make their life better, I've had more times than not it work out. I have also exited someone your size by myself because you are rowdy. So you don't get to stay. If you're the guy that's turning the place upside down, it is always the choice of the safety of the many over the one, always. But what I have always told my clients and I have always told the students, what your behavior today is your choice, and the great thing about a choice is you get to make another choice tomorrow. and I will give you a second chance. That is an operator's choice. It is not my choice. I am not the operator, but I know that we have to give people a chance, and I know that people screw up, and I know that they can come back from it. But if we continue to throw humans out on the street because they make a mistake, our humans, what are we going to do? We cannot leave these people out on the street. These are human beings, and they have free will, and they have free choice. And our job is to help them make wise choices. It's not a jail.
Yeah, I wasn't referring to it as a jail. I'm more concerned about the staff, and I'm more concerned about the seniors being injured inside. Do you guys ever have that problem?
I have never, in my shelters that I've run, I've never had a staff member injured. I promise you, I would tell you if I had. We do have security guards on staff. We do have metal detectors that they'll have to come through. There will be cameras everywhere. So there is a surveillance system that is in place there. And I'm part of the design committee, and I know that we don't create nooks and crannies. I know that we watch our things. There's a lot of open space. So we're aware that creating small spaces and places that cameras can't see is an issue. So we do have people that will watch the cameras. We do have security guards. We do rounds, but it is the staff. The staff does a really good job, and I can tell you, I've worked with other agencies that have been staffing, and they're trained. And that's the best thing that we can do, is to train our staff and give them tools to work with our clients. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm on board with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes. I think here. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
And this is my sister Monique.
Hi, Monique.
We work from Orange County.
Yes, ma'am.
We would like to help all the homeless.
That's very kind.
That we can. And right now, it hurts me to see people homeless.
Me too.
Because you know what? I was homeless too.
I'm glad you're not homeless now, Tanya. It's great. There will be opportunities for you to volunteer, and that's something we'd love to have you come and do when the shelters open. That's a great thing. And I will tell you, one of the things we put in shelters now are what we call peer advocates. And those are individuals that have previously been experiencing homelessness that are now housed, and they're wonderful. They come along those that are in our shelters that are experiencing homelessness, and they're a wonderful guide. They've been where these people are, and they've recovered from homelessness. And so it's a great beacon, and it's a great partner for them. So I hope that we'll be able to put some of those in there as well. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Monique. Yes.
Thank you for your presentation.
Oh, yes, sir.
So to refer persons to this navigation center, we go through the cities, correct?
Individuals and couples, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because it happens that I live in Westminster.
Yes, sir.
In a kind of hot spot corner there, we normally see homeless people lying on the street. Mm-hmm. We hadn't seen them lately, but for a while there were very constant people there.
Yes, sir.
And then across the shopping center where I live is a senior mobile home park. Okay?
Senior mobile home park, yes.
Yeah. So we frequently see some of these homeless persons using our facility, which is okay if you don't know, but they're taking showers and things like that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it gets kind of confrontational. And when we try to reach the city, we normally abuse Adolfo's, Mr. Osaita, say, let's call Adolfo, no? But I heard that we have the gentleman, you're the coordinator or the
homeless liaison.
So from now on, we'll be calling.
Yeah, call him.
No? Yeah, because in addition to be able to know who to refer, we would like to discuss how to deal with situations like ours, that when sometimes we have homeless people cruising through the park, and we don't want to confront them.
I'm going to let Officer Perez take that one. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Bernice.
Hi, Bernice.
I live over by the 22 freeway.
Yes, sir.
Garden Grove Boulevard and the 22.
Yes, ma'am.
And underneath that freeway it's terrible, and it's been like that for a year. And I grew up here. And every time we call, we get, it's not my city. It's not my city. Not my city. And there's trash. What is being done in this area?
I'm so glad the officers are in the room.
Yeah, because you can tell, it's
Yes,
one of our,
ma'am.
I mean, I live
I'll let the
right
chief
there.
manage that one for
can't
you.
even walk anymore. You know, so.
Well, that's a difficult question, so I'm just going to take the mic and leave. So it's kind of a complicated question. There is jurisdictional issues in that area. One side, depending on where you are on that one side, is Garden Grove. Okay, so then Stanton, then Westminster.
Chief, if I could ask you to come this way so we can get you on camera.
Oh, move forward. Yeah. Wonderful.
Sorry.
I'm not really a camera person. But
Well,
okay.
I think it's too late.
So the jurisdictional issues, also with freeways, as soon as you mention freeways, it's like, oh man, because you have Caltrans. Caltrans is not as responsive as municipalities. Bigger government, usually as you get bigger than the feds, it's not usually as responsive. It's a little more difficult to navigate, and for us too. So that is a problem. I would assume it would not go smoothly, and I can't stand up here now and tell you it'll go smoothly now that you talk to us about it because of those jurisdictional issues. The one thing I can tell you that a navigation center does do for us is with the more difficult homeless, where you're trying to get them inside a navigation center to deal with some of their issues, where they have those kind of resources, is when we can work out the jurisdictional issues and it's ours, we now have the power to go, hey, you have to go to the navigation center, you have to seek, medical assistance for some of the issues you have, maybe mental health issues, and they could just tell us where to go. Now we actually have an enforcement arm going, no, you have to go or we'll arrest you. You have to leave. So it gives us a little authority that sometimes we need in this situation. I know the bad word, authority, but sometimes you do need it to convince people to take the next step in bettering their lives, especially when you do have, they're dependent on drugs, alcohol, and or mental illness. So I hope that answers it. I don't think it's the answer you were looking for, but I hope that answers your question.
Carrot and the stick, carrot and the stick.
It is.
It is. Yes, ma'am. Oh, everybody gets a chance to be the mic runner.
Just real quick in regards to the referral process.
Yes, ma'am.
Can a nonprofit organization refer someone? Or
Can
does
a
it have to
nonprofit-
organization refer a person that needs immediate housing? In the
I would
Westminster
tell you
or
that it
Garden
will be
Grove?
up to the cities and how they write it, but I would tell you that as a nonprofit service provider, if you were a nonprofit and you had somebody and I was the operator and you called me and explained to me the situation, I would maybe make a phone call to the HLO of that area and have a conversation, but the answer is sort of no, but. How's that?
Okay, but.
You don't have any referral authorization, but if you were out on the street, and you had somebody and they had the actual ties, I've worked with people. I mean, it's, service providers are in this together. We are in this together. So, and we partner with the HLOs and all of the officers, and we have really good relationships. And so I would expect at some point if I called Officer Perez and said, I'm standing on the street corner, I'm in Westminster, I've got somebody, they say they want to go, can you at least come and have a conversation with them? They would come and have a conversation with them. I don't have the found that mic. I don't have the authorization to take them to the navigation center myself, but I have relationships that I would use to make that referral. Is that fair?
Is it possible to, as representing a nonprofit organization, is it possible to have a contact person, maybe your card, that we could use?
I'm sure Mr. Officer Perez would love to give you his card.
My card or the homeless outreach?
He's going to kill me in the parking lot, I'm sure of it.
Get with me before you leave. Any other questions?
So, Officer, I guess a question for you too. If there is an available bed, somebody calls you and there is an available bed that night, and the person refuses to go, are you authorized to just take them in?
I'm sorry, to take them in? So with we just looked this up, with the Martin v. Boise case, so yes, if there's a bed available and services have been offered to the person, if they refuse, then yes, we can enforce certain transient vagrant laws that we have on the books. But without that bed being available, then all bets are off.
Yeah. Hence, the navigation center is really important to our neighborhoods.
I remembered a couple questions.
Good job. Okay.
Oh, no, wait, I'll forget again. No, so Westminster is allocated 22 beds. Let's just say that, is there any flexibility, or is that a hard number because of the money that we're putting up and et cetera? Can that be adjusted if we needed more and the other cities didn't?
Christine's coming, just keep talking.
Or you'd have to renegotiate the MOU or something, I'm not sure. And then also maybe Christina want to address what she told us in a council meeting, which was that the $4 million that the city is putting in will, in a roundabout way, be reimbursed by the ARPA funds.
Okay, so to go to the ARPA funds, yeah, so the $4 million is actually coming from our general fund reserves, and that's going to be reimbursable. It is a reimbursable expense through ARPA. So yes, it is going to $4 million go back into the general fund reserves. And you know, as I had indicated in the council meeting as well, the $4 million is actually a bit more than what our portion of the purchase price and the startup cost is, but that also, guarantees that $4 million is going to be used toward this project in the future. So there is a navigation center fund created specifically for this project at the city level. The other question, which was about the beds. So the initial MOU that we had that kind of solidified our collaboration with the other cities didn't address the number of beds, but when we come back with the full MOU in the future, some of those things will be hammered out. I will say that in talking with the other city managers, we've all come to a good agreement that we are not hard. If one of us needs a bed, we will figure out a mechanism in that MOU that allows us to be able to use one of their beds and vice versa, and basically, so buy back a bed for a particular portion. And so the whole point of collaboration, right? So those details are being worked into an MOU that will be presented. Probably, we're looking maybe in the next month or so.
Thank you, Christine, and all of you for making this happen.
Yeah, thank you, City. Well done, well done. All right. Well, it is just after 7, and it seems like we've answered a lot of questions. We'll all kind of stand around for a little bit longer if you have any questions, but thank you for coming this evening. Thank you for taking your time out, and thank you for supporting the Navigation Center. It'll be a good thing for our community. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.